Okay, grade 8, we are at the last lesson here. Actually, a fairly straightforward lesson. Rationalizing a denominator. To divide by an irrational number does not work very well. So an irrational number is like the square root of 2, which just does not end, right? So you can't divide by a number like that. You can divide an irrational number by a rational number. That works, but not the other way around. So we have to get this denominator into a rational number. So the easiest way to get your denominator into a rational number is multiply it by an equivalent fraction. So if we actually multiply this by an equivalent fraction, you can see that the square root of 2 that times the square root of 2 is going to actually equal 2. So we have on the top then 3 times the square root of 2. So it's just another way of writing it around so that we get a rational number on the bottom. So let's look at B. Same concept. You can try it yourself even if you want to, but mentally go through it because eventually we're going to run into some where we have to rejuggle the top as well. So we're going to multiply it by that rational number to get 4 times the square root of 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Now, when you look at this, we're not finished because 2 and 4 can take each other out, which means that we are left with 2. So our answer is 2 times the square root of 2. So make sure you kind of work through it to make it as simple as possible once you're finished. This one here, C, we're going to times it by the square root of 3. The square root of 3. And so we get the square root of 3 on the top over 3. We cannot reduce it any further. Here is our answer. D. Try it on your own if you have a chance. We will multiply it by the square root of 3. Square root of 3. This becomes 2 times the square root of 3 over 3. Cannot reduce it any farther. This is your answer. Moving on to E, we have 8 over the square root of 8. Now this one will be interesting because we're going to be multiplying it by the square root of 8, the square root of 8. So we are going to get as an answer 8 times the square root of 8 over 8. And so, of course, that looks pretty good. We can get rid of this. We're left with the square root of 8. But that one can be further reduced because we have 4 times 2. 4 has a square root, so it's 2 times the square root of 2. And then we have our final answer. So as I said, they can get a little bit more complicated. F. Try it on your own if you have a chance. Just hit pause, try it. Okay, here's your solution. We're going to multiply by the square root of 10. Square root of 10. So we get 5 times the square root of 10 over 10. So this can be further reduced. This would be 2, and this would be gone. So let's see what we got. That is as far as we can go. So we have square root of 10 over 2. G. Let's work our way through G. G is the square root of 3 and the square root of 3 on the bottom as well. So we wind up with square root of 2 times the square root of 3 over 3. And that cannot be further reduced, so what we have to do is put these together. So we get the square root of 6 over 3. And the very last one for today, we have to multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. So we wind up getting 2 times the square root of 6 over 2. I took a little bit of a jump there for you by combining the 3 and the 2 right away. But you can see that these cancel each other out, so the answer is going to be the square root of 6. So you can see that that simplified that whole equation quite a bit. So that is your lesson for today. Please mark your work from yesterday and submit your answer or your mark via private comment. If you have any questions, contact me on Hangouts and we'll connect on Meet.